At some point, these ADs are going to learn we don't need to hire ex-NBA guys. I need guys with college experience who's gone out and recruited, who knows how to develop talent. NBA guys with no college experience don't work in college basketball. I understand they run NBA-style offenses, but it doesn't mean they can run college programs.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
In a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams, who's got the best goaltending? You're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games.
I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff, on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final.
Only on SportsGrid.
Hang in there, it
That's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
All right. We did it.
Mics are hot?
Mics are hot.
Mics are hot.
I think that's about as good of a intro as I'm going to be able to do. I really wish I could get the music fade to a better spot. Maybe I should trim the intro. But, I mean, Here we are.
That was clean.
That's really about clean. I think that might have been the cleanest one we've done. How about that?
Not bad. Not bad. Happy to be back in the stream. Happy for your Eagles. Really disappointed. Do you not own any Eagles gear? What's going on there?
I do. I mean, so I'm wearing my, forest or midnight green Cypress Point hat here. So that's kind of sort of supposed to be a nod to the Eagles. I'm wearing my Bill Belichick cutoff hoodie with the North Carolina football on it because it's football, it's Super Bowl themed, so I had to reemphasize that point. But I wore my Eagles gear last night, as did my son. My whole family was decked out in Eagles gear. Had a delightful evening, low stress. Had to put him to bed at halftime, but the game was already over. It's about as good as it gets.
I mean, that was a blowout, just an absolute blowout. And I can't tell you how big of a Cooper DeJean,
I think we're going with.
I mean,
hey, guess where he's from?
Iowa, right?
Went to Iowa from South Dakota. Shout out to our boy Jackson Brown. I mean, Jackson Brown's not from South Dakota,
Dude,
but we played college ball there.
His basketball highlights go hard too. I mean, just dunking on dudes.
You know who else is from Dallas Goddard as well? I think he went to school in either North Dakota or South Dakota, but those Dakota boys, they make them a little bit different up there. It's just freakish athletes.
Yeah, just good to see.
Chiefs couldn't do a dang thing. It was confusing.
What'd you think of Kendrick Lamar?
I didn't watch much of the halftime show. I was putting my son to bed at that point. That was like it was a tale of 2 halves in the Hulme household. So let me just paint the picture for you. And actually, we weren't even here. We were at our neighbors, the Snyders, and they have 3 little kids. They have a little newborn baby about the same age as Kadick, and then they also have a son, Hudson. And Hudson and Walker are both aligned in that they are both agents of chaos. Like they Walk had his Jalen Hurts jersey on. Hudson had a little Eagles shirt on, and they were just running throughout the household, just yelling at the top of their lungs, pushing little cars around, just having the time of their lives. So the first half was uplifting family vibes, everyone enjoying kind of, watching the game together. And then we just drove around the corner. I put the kids to bed, and then I came back. And then Nick and I proceeded to take it deep and just prop bet anything we could get action on the entire second half.
Any luck?
Not much. I will say that we got a little ahead of
Gatorade. What color was the Gatorade?
Yellow. Yellow. Yeah.
Where was that on the odds board?
I didn't play the Gatorade. I should have played the Gatorade. I was just kind of doing standard. We were just trying to kind of go with the game flow. We hit a big one where we had AJ Brown next touchdown scorer, that last touchdown of the first half, and then we were really kind of like confidence crested. Like, all right, let's just let it ride in the second half. I'm coming back over, no kids, and then from there it just was all downhill. Just a lot of just irresponsible little prop. Nothing, no big money, but just we thought we were gonna take down the casino, take down the books, and shocker. You
hit one prop bet. Next thing you know, you're parlaying props.
Yes, yeah. He had next touchdown score on the Chiefs, a guy that I'm pretty sure they just made up his name so that if you bet this guy to score a touchdown, they would just call like the gambling hotline, be like, "Hey, this guy needs help. There's something wrong with him, and we need to send someone to help him out."
Coin flip? Did you bet on that?
Did not bet on coin flip, and I'm now looking at the chat, and Jackson's saying it's Cooper DeJean. So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It didn't feel right when I said it.
Yeah.
But the other reason people watch the halftime show is that there's like prop bets for the halftime show.
Yes. What do you think of the halftime
songs
show?
Played.
You have any thoughts?
Here's the thing. I was on a Southwest flight on the way home, and we were hitting the Dougie on the plane. Like when Mustang hit, like everybody was up, just like hands up. I mean, if it would have been a Spirit flight, we would have gone down. But Southwest, we were absolutely bumping.
Oh, that's good. I really love that for you. Yeah, I will have loved to seen you and the rest of the clientele on a Spirit flight just vibing out to the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Dude, that would have been a sight to see.
I loved it. Now, I may have been in the minority here, but I was vibing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are mixed opinions on it. I'm not young enough anymore, Smylie. I'm not part of the culture anymore. I think the kids, they tell you what's cool, what's not. Obviously, I'm aware of the whole Kendrick and Drake beef, but the Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick's first album, I still think is maybe top 5 albums of all time. Just a cinematic masterpiece. But I really have not listened to much Kendrick in the years since, so I can't. It's tough for me to comment.
I mean, I kept looking over to like the person like in the aisle next to me. We're just like, sick, right? Yeah, sick. Because it's the Southwest flight, and everybody's got that's the one really cool thing about Southwest is like the free live TV, and it's like really easy to cruise. And so
dang, I didn't know Southwest was doing that now. I thought that was just a JetBlue thing. No, I'm a Southwest guy. That's kind of on me.
Southwest has always had the TV.
Really?
Yeah, that's been a thing for a decade.
Wow. Maybe I've just been too preoccupied. I like Southwest because you can just go to the back of the plane with your kids and like just please no one bother me. I really don't. I'm not trying to bother you.
It's much more on a Southwest flight. You're expecting a little bit of chaos. So when you show up with your kid on the plane, it's like, hey, glad you guys all showed up to our party. Like this is.
I love it. I love it.
That's the vibes.
That's the vibes. Well, there were. I mean, I don't know if there's much to talk about in the game other than, it was a romp, and I don't know that I feel like America wanted to see the Chiefs lose, but I think they also probably wanted a close game, and they did not get that. So
no, they didn't. Did you listen to Tom Brady much?
Didn't really. I mean, it was classic like Super Bowl party type situation where the volume's on, but it's kind of like faint. There's a lot going on. So
I listened to it mainly just because I'm on a flight. It's all I can listen to. I can't chat with anybody besides my buddy next to me for the. Oh yeah, it was like $600,000 apparently.
That's a lot. It's a big watch, big fancy watch, and it's worth a lot of money and hard to miss.
I'm curious what the chat thinks of how Tom Brady did.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't see the chat. So
the chat is. I think if you go to your sidebar, you should be able to click chat. I don't know what interface you see. No one's.
Oh no, I got it. I got it.
You got there. Yeah, so you can kind of see some of that. Yeah, I think that I don't know. You saw I think a couple weeks back where Greg Olson was just talking about his demotion from that top role, and he felt like he'd done a really good job, and it's kind of hard to stomach now that Brady's in that role. But I also feel like, I mean, and this maybe kind of semi-segues us into the golf, but if Tom Brady is available as an analyst, Greg Olson, you were amazing. You did a great job, but like he's Tom Brady. You're going to put him in the booth. He's going to be a number one guy. He's going to be a draw.
And, I think Greg's better though.
I don't disagree with that, but this is unfortunately not necessarily a merit-based job as much as it is like a
pretty
who gets
job.
butts and seats. and it's a different thing because I wouldn't say that Jordan Spieth has the merits, but it's the same thing with like sponsor exemptions of people getting upset with Jordan Spieth for getting sponsored. Like Jordan Spieth puts butts in seats.
Yeah.
And he's also a 3-time major winner.
I'll say that the hardest thing for broadcasts and TV announcers is blowouts, because you're just having to fill time with your words versus just talking about what's in front of you in the play. So I honestly, like, all things considered, I thought he did a really nice job. Like, way better from like the beginning of the year. He's like shown some really nice growth. I thought at times like we got a little too chatty at the end, like trying to find something. But you know what? It was overall for a Super Bowl, I thought I was entertained listening to him.
Yeah, we got a couple comments here that I'm throwing up on the screens. Kyle Riegler said TB got off the hook because the game was bad. Marcus Rainwater here says Brady did pretty good, still getting better, but you have to put Greg in there.
Like,
Sam,
do you think Greg, like, can he get a number one job? Do you think?
Okay, so what are his options? Like, I mean, because basically
Collingsworth is like the guy who's been probably around the longest. You know, like he would probably be the next one to be out. You would think, but who knows how long he's locked in with Fox? You don't.
Romo's not going anywhere with CBS.
No. But what's going to continue to happen though? There's going to be Netflix, YouTube TV,
yes,
all these other Amazon, all these other like different players now. They're going to be coming into NFL.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes. End of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Thomas Dietrich birdies the final 4 holes to win by 7 shots. Belgium's first PGA Tour winner. He played the University of Illinois. Justin Thomas has called him freakishly talented. This is a guy that's this has kind of been our luck this entire year. I've been on Thomas Dietrich.
You have, man. You have.
And then this was the week where I finally go away from him. And what does he do? He runs away with it. So, I mean, I think this is a guy whose game has been trending the last couple years. I mean, not that I didn't know of him, but I remember last year, particularly watching him at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and really saying, this is a guy I need to pay attention to because he's going to win soon. And it was just about a year later at the W in Phoenix Phoenix Open here where he gets it done. He always kind of stands out because he's got that G4 colorful glove. That's kind of his little iconic touch there. And Hugo Boss clothing guy, if I'm not mistaken. But you were out there this week, covering the golf for Golf Channel as part of that kind of combined broadcast with CBS. What did you see from Thomas Dietrich this week that really just impressed you the most?
Well, just really freaking good golf. I mean, this is a golf course that to kind of explain to you how it plays, it was really firm, the fairways this week. The rough was up enough to where it promoted some serious challenges heading into the greens because the greens were firm, and they tuck all the hole locations in the corners of the greens and really like up against the edges too, where I find this golf course in particular makes it so tricky to figure out what putts are doing in the last like thirds of the putt. So, if you put the hole locations in the middle of the green at this golf course, compare it to any other course like on the PGA Tour, how much easier it plays, like when pins are like set up pretty easy, but they just tuck these hole locations and it puts a premium on driving, having the correct angles into the green. You honestly would rather have been in the desert than being in the primary rough. So that's just a little bit about the golf course. And it was a great week of weather. And Dietrich, who I saw maybe hit like 2 shots, is like he was always around my group but never in my group. I mean, come on, dude. Right? Like, how good is that golf? I mean, to win by that much, I think the one thought that I've been thinking about the most is how he's never won, like, as a professional, besides his win on the Challenge Tour, where he won by 12 shots in 2016. To me, that speaks to a talent of a player to be able to say, like, hey, if you can go win any golf tournament, I don't care where it is in the world, by 12 shots, it just shows what you're capable of as far as just being able to dominate a golf course in a field. And not shocking to see that his first win was by 7 shots, right? Like, this is what he's capable of. He's very talented, freakishly talented, like you said, JT said on the broadcast. But I was really... I think we all felt like he was going to come back to us. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt like Thomas over the last couple of years, he's shown that, or is he ready for it? I just didn't think he was. And I think he just looked so good the entire week. And every time I thought he was going to take a step back, he took a step forward. Like, not just... just even Sunday, starting out with a birdie on the first hole, not the easiest hole on the golf course, makes birdie. And, I think when you look at the scoreboard too, besides the 7-shot win, and you see what he shot on Sunday, which was tied for the lowest score on Sunday, it's like, come on, man. That's incredible.
Well, and I think if you are, I was reading the PGA Tour recap of his win, and there was a section about how he's really kind of gone deep on this meditation practice in the past few years and really kind of trying to help him center himself in big moments. It's interesting coming on the heels of the conversation we have with Joel Damon and just about controlling the mental side of things, trying to get into a flow state. And you'd think that a guy coming down the stretch, trying to win your first PGA Tour event, let's just keep it on the rails. We have a lead. Let's just hold that lead. But to birdie the final 4 holes, to stick it, as tight as he did on 16 in that stadium atmosphere.
That's a hard shot, man, back to that corner.
Really hard shot from a guy that very easily could just say, let's hit the middle of the green, let's 2-putt everything, and let's get out of here with the win. I thought that was, pretty impressive to see him kind of hit the accelerator.
One of the biggest things I struggle with from the mental side on the PGA Tour, especially for guys who have everything to gain, is forward thinking. And he talked a lot about that this week, talking how he was a player that really struggled with getting out in front of himself. And if we talked to Joel recently on the podcast, you haven't listened to it, go listen to it, about this topic and how a guy like Scotty Scheffler and Maverick McNeely even talked to him about it, about how are you able to just keep it one shot at a time. And very few are elite at doing it day in and day out. And so I think that was the biggest hurdle that Thomas Dietrich had to get over this week. It wasn't going to be his golf. It was always going to be, can he mentally get through 4 days of golf and not get ahead of himself?
So the question that, of course, everyone's asking now, Colt mentioned this on the broadcast. You and I texted about this privately, and we've got a comment here from Dan Harding saying it'll be interesting to see if Dietrich propels into a Ryder Cup spot. Seems like he just needed a breakthrough. So here's what I got for you, Smylie.
Okay.
2023 European roster. I'm going to read off all the names, and you tell me who you think you'd bump for Thomas Dietrich.
I was just thinking that in my head before you were about to read this. It's like I'm trying to go through in my head who was on that team. Yeah, go ahead.
And so there have been a little bit of changes, right? So you have Rory McIlroy, of course, John Rahm. Hey Rory, make some popcorn. You're watching TV. You're watching on TV at home, buddy. Dietrich's got your spot. Rory, we got John Rahm, who's since departed for LIV. Robert McIntyre, Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, who's also departed for LIV. Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, who was a captain's pick. Sepp Straka, captain's pick. Justin Rose, captain's pick. Shane Lowry, captain's pick. Nikolai Højgaard, captain's pick, and Ludwig Oberg, captain's pick.
Dude, that's a strong team, man. But
I know who I'd bump. I'm curious to see who you'd bump.
It's easy when you just read the names out. Fitzy's a no-brainer. First one out.
Agreed.
Nikolai Højgaard would be next. But the rest of that team's strong, man. Like, Luke doesn't have to overthink this one this year.
I think Rasmus is kind of almost playing better than Nikolai at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have he's going to have a lot of options. I mean, just have the captain's pick. You know, Sepp Straka is playing as good as anybody on that team right now.
They're going to be tough to beat. I mean,
if they introduce a TGL element to this event, Justin Rose.
I think the U.S. team is going to be tough to figure out who's going to make it still. I think the European team's way more locked in. And then throw in a guy like Dietrich with his talent that he could bring. Now, we'll see if it shows up at Bethpage, but it's a good fit for him too, the way that golf course plays.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
But if it ends up being 1 versus 2, which seems likely because the Cavs have a 5.5 game lead over Boston, the Celtics 3 games clear of the New York Knicks.
They're not unstoppable, not running away with everything, but for them to blow a 5.5 game lead on the backstretch in the NBA, already being a quality team outside of disastrous injuries, I don't buy that at this time.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
In a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams, who's got the best goaltending? You're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games.
I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff, on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final.
Only on SportsGrid.
So Jordan has been the subject of a lot of chatter on the golf internet this last few weeks. So comes back obviously from that wrist surgery in the offseason. T69 his first start at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, post-surgery, even par. Lots of complaints online. You know, the news that he's getting a sponsor exemption into the Genesis alongside Ricky Fowler and Gary Woodland.
Do you want to get into that right now?
What's that?
Do you want to get into that right now? Are you a little fired up about that?
I am. I really am. I think I'm ready to go a little bit scorched earth here. I mean, because first of all, I mean, he goes out and his second start post wrist surgery ties for 4th in this event, WM Phoenix Open 16 under, and it frustrates me so much, the intellectual dishonesty that I feel like a lot of people put out there around these sponsor exemptions and the state of the game. And it connects a little bit with the complaints about the way the broadcasts are currently set up, something we've talked about on the show a number of different times. It's like you can complain. It's not incorrect to say that it's not a pure meritocracy for a Jordan Spieth to get a sponsor exemption into the Genesis, right? Or to say that it's not fun to watch a lot of commercials on a golf broadcast. But you also have to attach that to, we live in a real world, and so why are these things happening? You have to have commercials to pay for the broadcast. Like, you don't go work your job just for the good of whatever line of work you're in. You do it so you can earn a check and get paid to put food on the table. Same thing with Jordan Spieth. And the thing that really irks me with Spieth is, like, you could look at a lot of other sponsor exemptions that are more of a popularity contest or playing an internal political game than a guy who's won 3 majors and who's coming off of, I mean, I know it's not a major medical exemption because he was playing at the end of last year, but he's really been dealing with this injury for several years now without getting the wrist repaired and trying to kind of make it work. So now, like, we haven't even seen a truly healthy version of Jordan yet. Mm-hmm. And I'll say too, and this is, you can roast me for this comparison, but me here, just layman, not, playing professional golf. When I got the neck surgery done, of course you feel better in the immediate aftermath, but it takes months. Like, I really haven't felt full mobility in my neck until really just this year, working on a lot of exercise and stuff like that. So that's to say with Jordan, his wrist is probably not even fully healthy yet. Permission to roast.
Is the neck finally feeling better? Can we blame all the wedge shanks on maybe the neck being not quite 100%? Just to throw that out there.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, I think we're gonna, in the accounting department for the wedge shanks last year, we're writing all those off on account of continued neck rehabilitation.
I'm gonna write that down.
We were hurt and injured. So just put that down in Sharpie, please.
Yep.
But yeah, to just close the thought before I pass it to you on Jordan, it's just, I don't understand why people do this thing. It's like, this is a guy who everyone loves to watch play golf. He has the credentials, having won 3 majors, and he's a guy that's he's not old. He's like early 30s. Let's take a look at him with the wrist and put some butts in seats while we're at it. It just fires me up, every complaint that I get on this topic. And now I'm lost in my rant. Take it away, Smylie.
Well, no, the sponsors exemptions, it's a mess because the signature event shouldn't have this little amount of players in it. Well, I think in this next format of the PGA Tour, when there's 100 PGA Tour cards, just have 100 guys play in it. You don't need to cut down on the PGA Tour. If you got a PGA Tour card, you should be able to play in any event, especially when you cut down on PGA Tour cards. So in the future, it'd be nice to have sponsors exemptions, but it's for players who don't have a PGA Tour card. And use it that way, because right now it's just it's a mess.
Yeah, I mean it is, and it's not. I mean, again, it's not incorrect to say that it's not a true meritocracy, but it's also like it's to call it farcical or anything other than what it really is like, what version of this do you want to see? Because the version that people are asking for is one that will get no television ratings, won't have any money to pay for the thing, and in 2 years the whole tour is out of business, then we don't have any product. And it's like, just have a little bit of realism attached to the complaints you're making. Say, I don't like this, but I understand why it's the way that it is. So that's where I land on the Jordan Spieth sponsor.
Well, let's
talk about his golf.
Let's get into his golf.
I mean, just one tournament. It only took one tournament, 8 rounds before we got a vintage Jordan Spieth moment with a par save on 11. I mean, the left-handed putter punch-out image was just like, we're back. We're all the way back.
Yes, but it really wasn't like that all week. I think it was, I'm not sure what the final total ended up being for holes in a row without a bogey. It was in the 50s, I think, which is not typically the Jordan Spieth experience that we're all accustomed to over the last couple of years, or maybe even before that, where it was just a little bit all over the place. The consistency wasn't there. And shoot, even Jordan, when we've had him on the show here, and we talked to him about like, hey, people really like watching you play golf because we don't know what's going to come next. He's like, yeah, I know. I kind of hate that because a lot of times that means I'm out of position, I'm doing something wrong. So I would like for it to be much more boring, where this week it was.
Slow play drum beat grows louder and louder every week, to the point now that they're making overt references to it on the broadcast.
So there's plenty of other guys that have to get faster. Tom definitely is more deliberate in his conversations, always has been since he's been on tour. I just think about Joe Skovron, when those two started working together, how their conversations always seem to just keep on going and going.
The Smylie Show, only on SportsGrid.
At some point, these 80s are going to learn we don't need to hire ex-NBA guys. I need guys with college experience who's gone out and recruited, who know how to develop talent. NBA guys with no college experience don't work in college basketball. I understand they run NBA-style offenses, but it doesn't mean they can run college programs.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
In a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams, who's got the best goaltending? Over, you're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games.
I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff, on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final.
Only on SportsGrid.
Patino himself, in a clip that we just played, said basically the stats are not backing up the team's wins.
St. John's is offensive glass. That's where a lot of opportunities for St. John's came from. St. John's does not shoot the basketball well. It might even be fair to say they shoot it poorly. They were 3 of 16 from deep last night, but it doesn't seem to matter to them.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
What I liked about what I saw from his golf, like just initially seeing the ball in the air for the first time in a long time, is that he was really comfortable with his irons, working it, having it fall left, having it fall right. Where I think last year when I would watch him he struggled moving it right to left. And then when I looked at him face on, the grip just kept on getting weaker and weaker. Where the first thing I noticed was like, man, that left hand grip is much more neutral. So for him, that's a big step in the right direction. He's really pleased with the direction he's heading. Like from a DNA standpoint, I know that's like people ask like, what does that mean? Like, what is your swing DNA? Well, it's what you grew up with. It's something that's been measured for him when he's played well. Back in like 2015, he's been measured. So they're always been chasing that blueprint. And so when they've tried to chase this over the last couple of years, he hasn't been able to do it consistently because of his wrist. And it hasn't been, you would think it would be with the longer clubs, but if you remember me last year, I was like, dude, this is as good as he's ever driven it. Like he's driving it long, he's driving it straight.
Too. Yeah.
And he said that he had more time in the golf swing with the driver to be able to consistently be able to match it up more because he had more time for the club to get down to kind of time it up a little bit. But he said with wedges, he didn't have as much time. And so he found himself bailing out at times. Like when you looked at his wedge stats, they were not nearly as good as what they normally are. So just from a golf standpoint, I was really excited for him this week, heading into the week, because it seemed like he had confidence in making it work both ways. He knew that he could commit to his wrist and what he was trying to work on this week. He knew it was going to be a test 3 weeks in a row. Like he knew this was going to be a big challenge, especially, not being all the way healthy yet, but working his way there. But hey, I think just getting off to a fast start, playing really consistent golf, it was a massive, monumental week for him and for his team, which I thought the quote of the week, I think it was maybe Gabby Herzig that maybe wrote a short little article, or I saw a quick tweet about it, was from Cam McCormick, just saying that, hey, this is as easy as Jordan has been in a long time to work with. And I thought that was very telling about the perspective and state of mind that he's in, if that makes sense, about how in the past he's been searching, trying too hard, but getting away from the game and just kind of knowing it's like, hey, this is what we're doing, and just staying on that and just overall being just happier and more fun out there. I think he loved the challenge of being in contention, which I felt like watching him on like Saturday, the competitive thing kind of came back later in the day, that expectation of like, okay, I can go win this golf tournament, but coming into the week, my expectations still need to be low and just like let everything come to me this week. That to me was like, okay, he needs to keep on getting into contention so that he's more and more comfortable by the time Augusta comes up, which, hey.
Yeah.
He plays good there.
Eyeball emojis. Eyeball emojis on that one. Smylie, hottest 3 letters in golf right now. VSP, which I believe stands for vertical swing plane. And you sent over a little video of Jordan chipping, because this is all in the world, the crazy yarn board world of Joe Mayo. Just I love so much. The No Laying Up podcast, truly amazing. I was listening to it while traveling recently, and just all over the place.
It was insane, man.
Just truly insane. You had a little exchange with Joe regarding this. I'm gonna fingers crossed we can get this one right. It's the first share screen we try to do on Restream. But I have a video that you sent of Jordan. Oh, look at us. This works. Okay. Of Jordan chipping. And just, can you just help us understand this whole VSP thing?
Well,
as it
I'm
relates
still
to...
trying to learn to it, but what I can tell you is that Jordan is his angle of attack much steeper. He's always told me that he likes driving his chips. And I was like, what does that even mean? But when you see it on tape right here, you see how outside he takes it. Like, this is not under, it's not shut. Well, I guess he can chip with a little bit more of a shut face because of his left wrist angle. Think of Brooks Koepka, think of Dustin Johnson, guys that played with lead wrist flexion. He plays with that. And Scotty Scheffler as well, like very similar to this. He gets it very steep and outside on the way back, and he's coming down angle attack wise. I mean, just right on top of it and doesn't make a divot.
So, and this was something Joe talked about in that No Laying Up, it just that for so long, the seemingly the line of thought around pitching the ball, chipping the ball has been, oh, you got to get shallow. You got to get shallow. It's kind of feel inside. And this is the thing he's been kind of railing against. And I guess he said that there are a lot of different ways to get it done. It's just that steep is not bad. Can you explain a little bit why that's the line of thought that Joe's putting out there that he wants people to understand?
Well, I don't understand quite the math when it comes to the vertical swing plane, angle of attack, spin waft, all those things that he talked about. I could probably feel it and tell you it's like, oh, it's the shaft, being much more like this it's set up, or standing a little closer to the ball. Things that I probably already do in my pitching and chipping, because I feel like I'm a good chipper, that I naturally have always done. That probably translate to that math being correct. But what I do know with chipping is that when you get inside and you try to help it up and you have a bunch of knee flex and you're into the earth, like you're not standing taller on the way up. These are all feels that I've always had, but just translate to the proper numbers where you measure it and you see, like Jordan, for instance, he cuts everything with pitching. Like he doesn't hit very many draw pitches. He probably have to shut the face, but typically everything he does is with a cut motion.
Well, there we go. This is the debut of our live stream video integration here, which I'd say now you sent me a few others. So if we want to fire
a
up
bunch, man. Yeah, pull up the putter with Jordan if you got it.
Okay, let me do that.
That's the last thing to talk about.
Let me ask you a question on that one. Is it? And I'm gonna pull up. It's the made putt. I'm not sure which hole it is, but is it correct? Was he putting with a TP Mills putter?
Yeah, it's TP.
Correct?
Yeah.
Can I indulge you just for a quick second?
You got a TP Mills?
The Tinkerer's got it all, buddy.
There you go.
Tinkerer has it all. In fact,
that's the OG, man.
So
this is the OG TP Mills.
This is my first putter I ever got. My dad pulled this out of the Lost and Found at San Joaquin Country Club in Fresno, California. and I got it refinished a couple years ago. The OG TP Mills.
I know there's got to be people in the chat that have that exact same putter because it was that
So
old
good.
school Scotty and that were very popular putters. It was kind of like if Scotty and TP were probably one of the first two original putter makers, I would say, that were not from big corporations, right?
I think that's correct. I mean, I every once in a while I'll pull that thing out and give it a run and realize, oh wait, there's like zero forgiveness to this putter whatsoever. There's a reason why we shelved it and we moved on the technology. But it's TP was kind of like Scotty Cameron before Scotty Cameron in a way.
How good's this Kaufman cam here at the 7th hole with Jordan Spieth putting for bird? So I talked to him about like what's the difference between this and the gamer that we're accustomed to seeing. You wouldn't be able to tell on TV if you had a different putter because it looks exactly the same. And he said this face makes it feel like for him that it's more like a mallet in the way it sets up. Like for him, easier to aim. His other one, he felt like kept on getting a little shut when he would set up to it. Like he was fighting aiming it. So it feels like a mallet, meaning not necessarily as much the stroke, more so when you set it down, it just feels much more square to him. So he's not fighting his setup.
Is it like a sightline thing, like what's painted on the head itself?
No, it looks exactly the same, man. Like if anything, his top line is like a little bit thicker on this putter, but I don't think that's by design or by intention. I just know how thin his other one is. I putted with it on this hole actually in the practice round, and I made a couple putts. So it's I think we'll see what ends up happening as far as where he ends up going as far as putters for the rest of the year. I think this week he felt most comfortable with this. I know they probably want to get him back into a Scotty, which is what I'm sure he's going to be doing all next week, which is to see if they can get him in something he's used with that company for a long time. So I'm sure he's going to go do some practice. A lot of guys actually go this week to their Scotty Cameron studio because it's in San Diego this week. It's in Carlsbad. So I'm sure him, along with many other guys, will probably go see Paul, which he's a great guy. It does great jobs as far as fitting guys for putters.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're gonna go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's gonna help me get the job done. There is not gonna be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's talk Luke Clanton.
Love that. Okay, so Luke, of course, has 19 of the 20 points needed to earn his PGA Tour card via the PGA Tour U Accelerated program. I was looking back at this. He's made 7 PGA Tour cuts now. He's had 4 top 10s in those PGA Tour events. They all earned him a point. Would have earned more. He'd already have his card now if they'd retroactively applied the Luke Clanton rule for another bonus point for top 5s to the way he played in several tournaments. And he's made the cut at the U.S. Open last year, and obviously got a point for that start as well. So Luke needs to go 5 under in his final 8 holes on Friday to make the cut and earn that final point to get his tour card, and just narrowly misses that birdie on 18. You walked around with them on Friday.
It was fun.
Obviously, I saw some rebuttals to your tweet. You said you feel gutted for the guy. We're not. Everyone knows Luke Clanton's going to make it to PGA Tour.
Yeah,
we're not.
Why
We're not
was everybody
saying,
like?
We're not like this is his last chance. This is like Q school. Like,
I responded to one guy, and then like there was like 10 more. I was like, what? Why are people like taking this the wrong way here? Like he's not going to still make it on the PGA Tour. It was just, dude.
Feel bad for the guy. He's playing hard and almost gets it done. Yeah.
I mean, my perspective is that I just walked with him the last 3 hours, and I saw how badly he wanted it and how hard he grinded. Like that's all I was saying.
And he'll have other opportunities. I think I'm pretty sure he got a sponsor exemption to the Valero, so he'll have a shot there.
I think he's a Valspar too.
Valspar. So I mixed up my V sponsor events.
But I think he got that one for winning the college event last year.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. So just, I mean, and at some point in time, he's going to get this thing through end of season awards. Like it's going to happen this year. It just, the timing is variable. And then what that means for whether or not he finishes out the season with Florida State and what sort of discussions he's had there. So just your thoughts on Luke's week, where he stands now, what you saw and walking around with him. Obviously not the start to the week you wanted, but dang near gets it done coming down the stretch.
Dude, I think he could win at Valspar. Like that is such a good track for him.
Now tell me why you think, like you talk a lot about like superpowers, different guys, what makes them good. What are Luke's, does he have a standout superpower, or is it like he does everything really, really good?
No, it's actually, it shocked me how wrong I was about this, because my just overall impressions of Luke was exactly what you just talked about, which is like, yeah, he's just, pretty good at everything. Like, no, dude, he hammers it. He's in top 10 in club head speed on the PGA Tour.
I was not aware of that.
122 club head speed. He's about 183 ball speed. And I didn't know this. I was not aware. I had not seen him play. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go and just kind of dive a little bit into the Luke Clanton stat tree. I was like, holy crap, he hammers it. And then I was walking, he was playing with JT the first 2 days in Phoenix. And I was walking off the 13th green, and Luke was tapping in, and JT and I were at the edge of the green. And it's always a lot of pressure when JT's just sitting there watching you call. Like he's literally staring at me like this close, and I'm talking to a mic. He's like, don't screw up, don't screw up, don't screw up. But we're walking off the green. I was like, what do you think of Luke? And he's like, his ball makes a different sound. He's like, he's really good. So that just for JT to say that, for a guy who's played with however many players he's played with on the PGA Tour, to say it's like, dude, his ball makes a different sound. That is what you need on the PGA Tour now. Like, you got to be able to compress the golf ball, hit it hard. Young guy with tons of confidence. I love his moxie, love his grit. He's like, when you talk about superpowers, like, yes, he hits it long and hard, but that next competitive bucket, like, he's way up there in that. Like, he's in the Scotty Scheffler, Justin Thomas level of being able to lock in and focus, and appears to me to not be much of a forward thinker. Like, he's a guy that could win a lot in a season because of his ability to just lock in. Just his competitive spirit is so awesome to watch.
Yeah, I mean, a guy with that drive at that age, and really the composure as well, right? Like, it takes a lot of stones to be a collegiate player and get these sponsor exemptions, and not only make cuts, but dang near win several of these things. Like, that says a lot about where his psyche is now and his drive is now. Do you any thoughts on to wrap up on Luke Clanton, because you mentioned the competitive fire thing, and I want to get to Scotty on that point eventually.
Yeah,
but I'll let you wrap on Luke.
I was the putt on 15. It comes up right on the front of the edge, and I was thinking to myself, or I actually said it on the broadcast, it's like if it comes down to that extra little roll between that and a PGA Tour card, end up that being the case. It just with Luke, I'm so excited to watch to see what he does the rest of the year. I think that he's still a candidate to be on that Ryder Cup team. I know that's crazy as it sounds. And then I also started thinking about this. So that PGA Tour Accelerated program.
Yes.
Do you get a point for a start in a major?
Yes.
So that's what I'm a little like. That's kind of what I'm wondering about, if Augusta National's waiting to see if he gets his PGA Tour card, so that they're not the reason why him getting an exemption into Augusta gets him a PGA Tour card.
Correct.
So it'd be interesting to see if the Masters waits to see how he plays at Valspar in March, and if he gets his PGA Tour card, great, boom, got you an exemption. But I think if he's not playing at Augusta,
that's really interesting.
If he's not playing at Augusta, something went terribly wrong, because precedent has been set as far as inviting the best amateurs in the world. Like if you stand on the grounds of Bobby Jones and his amateur career and what he means obviously to Augusta National, and you have what Luke Clanton has done, which has been arguably one of the greatest amateur players to play in the last couple decades, and for him to be passed along and not get a spot into Augusta, and we've been giving exemptions over the last decade to amateurs that are deemed worthy. I mean, I'm tiptoeing as much as I can here, but it would be
what was the? Do you remember the timing?
Service.
Do you remember the timing of Gordon Sargent's invite? I don't know. Like, he won. Gordon didn't qualify in, right? Gordon
he won the national championship as an individual as a freshman. So he won the Haskins Award. He won the Natty. He was, I think, the #1 amateur player in the world at that time.
But none of those things earn you an exemption to them. Right. It was just a notable amateur invitation, special invitation. I'm just trying to remember when that came. And obviously
it was probably right around now.
So yeah, there's time. I think you make a really interesting point there of just looking at the way that program works, because obviously Augusta National doesn't do anything without carefully considering all the ramifications of what they're doing.
At some point, these 80s are going to learn we don't need to hire ex-NBA guys. I need guys with college experience, who's gone out and recruited, who know how to develop talent. NBA guys with no college experience don't work in college basketball. I understand they run NBA-style offenses, but it doesn't mean they can run college programs.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
In a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams. Who's got the best goaltending? You're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games.
I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff, on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final.
Only on SportsGrid.
On the good news front from Liv, within this past week, both the USGA and the RNA have created some exemptions, some pathways into the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, respectively.
Yeah, read them out to me.
Yeah, so here's what we got. So the USGA led first, and they're creating 2 exemptions starting for the 2026 U.S. Open. So the one is
2 exemptions.
So yes, and they. Well, let me just read them to you. I guess it could be the same player, but basically here's how they've classified it. The first one they're going to give is it will basically wrap at the conclusion of this 2025 season. So it's the top non-exempt player from the top 3 of the 2025 standings, right?
From
so it's
the top 3. So that is as far as they'll stretch it.
So top 3, if anyone in that top 3 is not exempt, they get into the 2026 U.S. Open at the conclusion of the 25 season. Then, as we're leading into the 2026 Open, whoever is the top player in that 2026 Live standings, that next spring or whatever the cutoff is, that player also gets an invite into the U.S. Open if they're not already exempt.
Okay.
But to your point, like if all 3 guys are already exempt,
that's not like a big number.
It really isn't. Now, I think it's in a way it's a nod to just like we will take the elite, most of your elite players, but we ain't gonna like hand out 10 exemptions to guys who are just playing on a free money tour. So then the RNA, this just happened actually today. They are adding a qualification pathway. So the leading, and this applies to the 2025 Open Championship. So the leading Live player not already exempt from the top 5 in the individual season standings through the Live event in Texas that I think wraps on June 29th. Earns a spot in the Royal Port Rush this year.
All right. So
top 5 from current standings this year. That's Open Championship, and for U.S. Open, it's 26, and it's top 3 not already exempt into this season.
So the U.S. Open could sneak 2 guys in potentially, but most likely it'll probably be 1 because you imagine John Rahm will probably be up in the top 3 of the standings, and
I bet most of those guys are already exempt. I think I'd have to go look at it.
It would be Rahm, Hatton, Bryson.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long DJ's exemptions are going to go for.
It's true.
His are going to be coming up at some point. Yeah.
So that really just all that leaves is PGA of America and Augusta National have not yet created Live Golf exemptions. Although I saw some reports that I guess maybe Joaquin Niemann and Sergio Garcia have both said that they've been given an exemption into the PGA Championship, but the PGA of America has not announced that officially. Fact check me on that if anyone's listening. But I read that somewhere, and I was wondering, if the PGA of America will follow suit soon. I mean, to me, I'm curious to hear your take on this. I mean, this feels fair. I think that it's been a big complaint of Live. We can't earn.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it. They didn't start too big as far as too many exemptions. They kind of started here like, all right, if this is too little over time, we can always adjust. You don't want to start too many exemptions, have to work your way back. Always easier to start this way. And then if Live hangs around for a long time, then you can kind of work off of that.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's our Live. That's Talkin' Live.
Yeah.
On the Smylie Show. What else you got, man? You got any final thoughts? We did a lot of golf talk today. We're like an hour and 30.
Yeah, good show. I think
shiny new graphics, shiny new videos.
There you go. Final thought would be that the WM Phoenix Open, I think that was probably like our best form of what the PGA Tour, maybe not quite as much the fan, like what they're known for is being just like a drunk, rowdy crowd. So let's just talk about the number of people, maybe not quite their BACs when it comes to the big crowd, but it's a recognizable venue, a really, I think, a fun venue to watch on TV, risk reward. It's an incredible finish, lots of people, good noise, good energy, but then also it's the full field for me. It's just the fact that we had different storylines going on. And I think if this was a signature event with only 70 guys, it just doesn't come across the same for me. Like, I liked having a full field at this event. 132, I mean, it doesn't, if it's 120, if it's 100 guys, I I think the signature events model is going to get tiring at some point. I think 120 is the right number. Even 100 I'd be fine with. Still, it just had all the feels for me this week. It was a really good PGA Tour event. And just 2 really good weeks in a row, talking about Pebble and the WM Phoenix Open. You had Rory McIlroy winning at that one, a great leaderboard. It would have been nice for that one to be closer to 100 guys. But with that being said, they're on a good run right now. I'm interested to see what the ratings say. But I think a lot of people really liked watching the broadcast this week.